Hi everyone and welcome to this Hangout on Air. This one's going to introduce you to Popplet, which I have used for years for mind mapping. So it's a really great online tool. It looks really lovely and it's really easy for the students to get to grips with and use. I'm just going to take you through a couple of examples. So I'm just going to click on one that I made earlier. Doesn't really matter. So this is one that I'd used for kind of top tips as students were revising for a particular unit. So you can see that I've sort of split things up. I've turned things into red where they're really kind of important. And then in between that, I've got lots of other ideas about things that they can look at and revise. So in a student using a mind map, they can zoom in or out depending on what they want it to look like. And they can change the colours accordingly. So they can change the background if that's easier for them to look at. And they can actually just click view all and it will automatically move out so that everything can be seen. What I will do, and I haven't got these preloaded, but I'm just going to have a little hunt for them and see if I can find them. So I've set my students a research task over a number of weeks in order to kind of pull together their thoughts about potential ideas for their coursework. So what worked really well was that the students were able to work on these at home and access them when they wanted, when they needed to. And actually, the great thing about Popplet is obviously here you can just see text and lines, but what's also possible is for it to include lots of other multimedia as well. So if I just open one of these, hopefully it's an example that's got plenty of that in there. And it's not. What luck. I think it's the only person who didn't. So a lot of them chose to include images and video content to accompany what they'd written. So you can see here that they've got each of the poets color coded on the screen there. And they can see they've obviously included all of these videos that I can click on in order to access. And obviously it's playing really small at the moment, so I'm unable to see that. So if I zoom in, I can then just click and drag over to where I need to see. Okay, obviously it's been disabled, which is a slight problem with some of these, and something that we spoke about before was just to test that. You can see that they've included lots of links and they can click on go to link in order to access the resources that they've found. They've also combined it with Google Documents, where they've maybe conducted an analysis of a particular poem, and they've included their ideas and highlights based on what they wanted to explore in that particular poem. And you can see down the right hand side here that the student has offered lots of comments, and then I've been able to go in and comment afterwards and add in my ideas. So you can see that it's a really great way of the student just gathering their thoughts together on quite a large topic. Just click on view all to move back out. And obviously kind of gather it all together visually. So it's great for students who prefer to do that with their research. And it's a little bit more interesting than perhaps just dumping it in a Word document or even a Google document and sliding that over to you. So I personally think it's really great for students. Obviously, I have used it for the students, but I think it's a great tool for the students actually to create their own. So I'm just going to click in and show you how to make a new one. If the students do need inspiration, they can click on public Popplets in order to view things on all sorts of subjects and view what other people have shared. So if you click on your Popplets, this will be your bank of the particular Popplets that you've created. Now you can choose to view it as a grid or as a list. So for me, it works better as a grid because I can see a little bit of a preview as to what I've got in there. So I can click on make a new Popplet here. You need to give your Popplet a name. So I'm just going to call it test, and I'm going to have a blue background and then click on make it so. So I've got a blue background here, but I can obviously, as the owner, change any of that. Now, if I click on the cog, I've got lots of other options for kind of duplicating it printing it, and they do look really great printed for the classroom. I can export it as well. So if I wanted to display it elsewhere, maybe in a VLE perhaps, or on a community social media, for instance, then it can work really well just as an image. So I can export it as an image or as a PDF. I can view it in presentation mode, which is fab for the students if they created a mind map and are then presenting it back in class, because that's something that they can really do. And I can choose lots of other options on there in terms of saving. Okay, so if I just do a double click on the screen, it automatically creates a popple on the screen. So I'm just going to put in message 1 in there, and I can choose to actually change the color of it. So I'm going to make that one green. I can make it larger or smaller by just dragging this bottom corner, and I'm just going to move it over here. What I can also do is then pull these lines out and automatically create new popples coming off of it, and then I can move those around afterwards however I want to. So you can see that all of those are connected, and if I wanted, I've now connected these two together by just dragging that line over to there. So I'm going to connect that one there, and that one's now all connected in. So you can type in the middle to add in your ideas. Now what you might also want to do is make the font larger, medium, or tiny. So I'm just going to go for medium. You can left align, center, or right align the text. What you can also do is choose to do drawings. So that's actually a really brilliant tool if students are studying something a little bit more technical, or perhaps maths, because it's great for them just to be able to kind of do their drawing as they would in a particular subject on paper. Okay, on the right hand side, I can then click to insert particular content. So I can upload things from my computer, and I can link to YouTube, I can link to Vimeo, and I can also choose to add an image. What I can also do, an image seems to be disabled right now. Okay, what I can also do is obviously just insert a web link related to something else. So if I just insert the web link for this Hangout today, then what you can see is that automatically generates this blue link, and you can click on go to link in order to automatically access it. You can see quite easily that you can incorporate lots of multimedia and different sorts of content in there. So if I change the color here, I can create another set of popples just over here. And what I can also do is connect those ones to the previous ones so that you can see there's some connection in there. Now, if I decided that I didn't want that connection there anymore, when you hover over any of the lines, you can see a cross, and that will delete that. Equally, with your popples, you can click on the cross to delete that as well. What you can also do is add a comment on a particular popple, which is really great if you just want to add in more detail, you kind of want to add in some background information, and you'll be able to see those comments afterwards as well. So I'm going to imagine that that is my part complete. Now, the reason I say my part is that I can click on Add Collaborator, and I can enter the name or email address of anybody, and what they will do is then be able to contribute to that Popplet. So when I've added them, they will actually appear on here as a contributor, and if they double click, instead of it saying Hannah, it will actually include their name. So what's great about that is that the tutor at first glance can see with any project who has inputted the most to a particular project, what they've put in, what they've contributed, what their ideas have been, how creative each of them have been. So it's absolutely fab for that. Now, if I was satisfied with this, then I can click to make the Popplet public. Now, your choice options are that it's private, which means that it would only be within the collaborators, and it would kind of be to you. You can choose to make this Popplet public, but not to show it in the public Popplets, which means that anybody with the link would be able to access it, but actually the vast majority of the public wouldn't be able to view it back when I showed you public Popplets before. What you can also do, which is obviously the highest level, is to make the Popplet public and show it in public Popplets. So that's great for a student who maybe wants to show off the work they've done and actually share that beyond there. So I'm just going to click on save. Now what I can choose to do is that I can automatically share a link to Facebook or my Twitter account. I can get the link here, so I can copy and paste it. I can email up to 10 friends at once, or I can choose to actually embed it. So if I wanted to embed it in a website, that actually works really well. If I wanted to go straight to do that, then I just click on the embed button and that appears as well. Okay, so if I go back to home, what you'll now see is that Popplet has appeared on the front page as test. Now, if I wanted to delete it altogether, I can just click on the blue cross and that would get rid of it completely. Okay, so that is Popplet, useful for mind maps, great for research, and particularly brilliant for students. So the best of luck in using it, and I hope this tutorial has been useful.